It's May 19th, 2011, and today on This Non-Religious Life, we're going to be talking about the Rapture. Who's talking about it, and what to do with your animals in the event that you're taken up to heaven.
Christian. Jesus died on a cross. I go to church every Sunday. Jesus got out here. Then I read that Jesus died on a cross for a rotten hooker.
The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes.
Through Orange County, you'll see a billboard with a profound prediction.
And the billboard says, quite simply, the world will be coming to an end this coming May. Judgment Day coming up.
God does not play games. The Bible is absolutely trustworthy. And the more we study the Bible these days, it all locks in tighter and tighter and tighter that it is going to happen.
And that was Harold Camping talking at the very end right there. In case you're just tuning in now, it's May 19th. We are T-minus 2 days until the Rapture.
Can't wait.
I know. And for anyone who's lurking around on Facebook, there's a really fun event that everyone should subscribe to. Post-Rapture looting.
We do not promote looting.
But I mean, if they're all in heaven anyway.
I know, right? I like the people that are making the comments on the post-Rapture looting site about, all I want is a hot tub and a bottle of wine.
Yeah, I mean, come on. If you've gone to heaven, do you really need your big screen TV?
No.
Let me enjoy it for 6 months until the end of the world. You know?
Can y'all guys mature and let's do this show?
All right.
Never.
For anyone who doesn't know what the Rapture is, essentially the Rapture is the idea that at the end of time, all of the good God-fearing Christians, whichever denomination is usually proclaiming it, they're the one that's right, will be pulled up into heaven, and they'll get to go hide in heaven until the earth is destroyed and a new Jerusalem is created. The Rapture appears a couple times in the Bible, most notably 1 Thessalonians 4:13 through 18, and in 1 Corinthians 15:50 through 54. So really, it's a Pauline idea. Like, Jesus never mentioned the Rapture. It was just Paul. So, you know, this is...
I thought you said it's appalling.
It's that, too.
Damn.
So, I mean, there have been a number of predictions, like, throughout Christianity. You know, it's one of those things that it's occurred again and again and again. I mean, almost from the time that, like, Jesus died. So,
Well, like I said, I can't wait. I think it'll be a good time.
But it's Saturday.
I know.
I broadcast The Talking Dead on Saturday.
Well, so here's the thing, though, right? So everybody's made these predictions about the end of the world, but now Harold Camping has come along and he's really put a date to it. He has, and he's fixed it firmly in the mind of the public at large with a whole campaign of billboards and he runs the Family Radio Network.
Family Radio.
He has a media platform. And it's on the mainstream news now. It's everywhere. You see it all over the place. Whatever he's doing a good job of it as far as like making people aware. And I'm just wondering how many people are laughing like, you know, haha, whatever, and how many people are, I don't know, taking it seriously that are making plans.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, this is, it's funny to laugh at, and I really do. I laugh at it because it's such an absurd claim, and you know, people don't realize that End of the world predictions have been made more than 200 times in the past 2,000 years. That's a lot. Roughly every century. But I mean, it adds up. There, it seems like it comes in waves. But Harold Camping made this prediction before in 1994. He claimed that the world was going to end. But it's not a small thing. It's crazy. Like, you have people, you think you have people just patiently waiting, like, oh yeah, I believe Harold Camping, we're just going to patiently wait until the end comes. There was a guy in New York who blew his entire life savings. Like, he's a 60-year-old man. His entire life savings, like over $140,000 on billboards. What happens
for this or for previous?
For this, for this one, it was just in. I think it was like New York Post or something like that. It's crazy. Like, he took all of his money and put it into this billboard campaign. I think he bought, like, I don't know, 1,100 billboards or something.
So
like
is
that.
the camping church going to take care of him after, if this doesn't happen?
I think they would be morally obliged to, but I'm sure they won't.
But not.
They're not going to help anybody because they're invested in the belief that there is no May 22nd. So what is there to take care of? Nothing. I mean, it's
I
their
still
mind.
think it's a gimmick to get people to read the Bible. I mean, when we talked to Brother Mike, I asked him that question. He said he was a firm believer, but I still honestly think it's a gimmick.
It very well could be a gimmick, but like, it's terrifying, and like, what kind of mentality is behind a worldview that is, intrinsically it weighs on, like, the crux of Christianity is really that the end of the world is any day now.
Yeah,
If we're lucky.
If we're lucky. No, I think I think that there are people in Harold Camping's organization and group and who are behind him, and I think that they are sincere in their belief. I think that they do believe, and for them that there will be no May 22nd, and now I can't speak for Camping himself, or really for anybody, but I bet that there's a segment of his organization that are sincere in their belief, and I just wonder what's going to happen to them. I mean, I feel bad for them too. I don't know. I can't fathom a worldview where there is no tomorrow.
I mean, but that's true for everybody, though. We could all die without Rapture, Judgment Day, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's different. That's life. That's life in a world of random circumstance. I mean, if you send 1 million people to the corner to buy a paper, just something as simple as that, not all of them are going to make it. Just something's going to happen. So I accept the fact that we live in a world where, you could go at any second. And you have no control over it. You have no say over it. It's just, that's random circumstance. But to know what's going to happen on a particular day, and to be certain of it.
Well, I mean, there's definitely have to be some psychological issues with it, because anytime a doctor gives a death date to one of their patients because of whatever cancer or whatever it may be, that person goes through traumatic experiences. They re-question everything. Some suffer from depression. Others get a renewed vision on life or whatever. But I mean, I guess that's, in the eyes of Christians, would be the same thing. For if you knew, I mean, like, if Saturday, you really believe that Saturday is your last day on this earth and you're going to somewhere greater. I don't know.
I mean, I like the idea of how you compared it to when a doctor gives someone, like, so long to live. But I mean, that's usually given as a range. Like, imagine if a doctor said, you will be dead by 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Right, a doctor's not going to say that.
But a doctor's never right when they give the death warrant anyway.
No,
I guess that's true
but
because this guy isn't right either.
But to say that, look, when a doctor says, "Oh my gosh, you've been diagnosed with X, Y, and Z, and you have 3 months to live," right? That's movies, man. That's movies and TV. That doesn't really happen.
No, that actually happens. I know people who the doctor says you have a year left.
Well, then those are poor doctors.
They are poor doctors, and doctors should never say that shit.
It's my understanding that the standard of care for those issues is the doctor says this is the survivability range, and this is the treatment plan, and we feel that this will increase your survivability, and those are the terms in which it's couched, not, yeah, man, pack your bags because you got 3 months, and I don't know, and even then that's different than saying you have until May 21st, which happens to be just a few days away.
Yay!
2 days. 2 days and counting.
That's right.
One thing that I was interested in is they said, and it makes me laugh now because I've thought about it. They said May 21st is the day. And then they came out and they said it's going to be, midnight?
Sundown in Israel.
They changed the time again.
Wasn't it like
9
Kansas time?
Yeah, it was something.
It was like 9 o'clock Kansas.
I thought it was
time,
sundown in Israel.
I don't know.
Whatever time that is, whatever it translates, but sundown in Israel.
Sundown in Israel would be,
Unless we're like 5 or 6 hours ahead.
more than that. 6, maybe 7, because 5 is Greenwich Mean. Most of Europe is 6, and then I think 7.
Okay, 7.
Because I think Tehran is 8, so it's. I think it's
All right, so what time would sundown be? 7:30, 6:30, 7:30. So
it'd be middle of the
noon,
day.
noon on Saturday.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But that's Kansas time.
Yeah, I believe they said Kansas time. It's something to do with Kansas time. It's like because God lives in Kansas apparently.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't that where their
When did
church
that happen?
located?
No, they're located in Oakland. Family Radio is located in Oakland.
Why Kansas?
Maybe the Westboro Baptist Church is right.
No, it's Dorothy. It's the tornadoes. It's little Toto.
It's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Camping watched the Wizard of Oz too many times.
Damn it.
He was reading the Bible one day, fell asleep, thinking
With
about
Pink
Judgment
Floyd
Day.
playing Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon's playing.
Robert
Dorothy's-
Tilton on the TV.
Exactly. Hell, it's all a bad dream. And he woke up and he's like, "You were there. You were there." He looked up and saw a picture of Jesus. He's like, "And you were there." Oh, that's excellent.
It comes together so nicely.
But what's funny is when you make a prediction and you say it's this day, it's going to be the next day somewhere else. So there's somewhere in the world where his prediction is the wrong day. And I mean,
Unless
I think that's-
Rapture's really slow.
It could be a.
It could fall. It could be like the Never-Ending Story, where the nothing is like a dark shadow that creeps over the earth. It could be. It could follow the darkness.
See, that
of the
would
sun.
be really cool.
but the thing is, like if it was 9 o'clock, I think it was 9 p.m. Kansas time, I think. But 9 p.m. Kansas time is already May 22nd Greenwich Mean.
We got Pete mopping over here, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just feel bad watching you work, man.
So and these billboards aren't just in the U.S. I mean, they're all over the world.
Right, they're all over the world.
over
A friend of mine said that they were on a cruise to the, I think she said it was like maybe Mexico or the Caribbean. I forget where she said, but she said that those people were on the cruise with the express purpose of every stop they made, they were going out setting up billboards and passing out literature, and that's just.
I'm sad. We
But
just
they were in
missed
Virginia
them. They were
Beach,
Virginia
yeah.
Beach. They were at ODU recently, apparently.
And
How
okay,
did we miss that?
Brother Mike, if you're listening to this episode, I asked you on the show when we interviewed you that if you come in town or any of your peeps come into town, I wanted to go have coffee with you. My phone didn't ring. What's up?
Well, Brother Mike, look, dude, he's got 2 days, man. He's got more stuff on his plate. And he's got a lot of. He's got a
Maybe he
lot to
doesn't
worry
drink
about.
coffee. I don't drink coffee.
But
either.
really,
You drink tea.
I mean, you got 2 days on Earth. What's the rush? Sit back, relax. Does it really matter if you finish that,
Yeah.
that movie
That
you were
novel
writing?
I was working on. Yeah, so here's the thing that makes me aggravated about this whole Rapture thing. Captain America comes out on the 22nd, and if I miss it, I'm going to be upset. I'm really looking forward to that movie.
Is it really coming up?
Yeah, it's 22nd, so it's a month away. It's a month after the Rapture. So,
Maybe
you're going to miss it, man.
No, there'll just be more seating.
Yeah.
No, but that's another thing. They said it's only like 1% of the people who are going to be raptured. If that's the proper.
See, that's another thing, because there are roughly, last I checked, about 38,000 Christian denominations in the world. Those are the legit ones. That's not like the ones that are splintered off and they're like, one family who don't have any standing or
Doesn't
aren't
1%
known
of the
about
world population die every day anyway?
No.
it. I don't think so.
No, that can't be right.
It's much less than that. That would be,
Yeah, because if that happened in 100 days, you'd have nobody.
That'd be awesome.
yeah, that's what, 60 million people a day.
That we know.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. A lot of people
Yeah.
die
Yeah,
no,
every
no.
day,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of people in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what is going to happen on the 22nd. So Harold Camping made a similar prediction in what 94?
94. And he was sort of like.
So
I don't know- I
how
don't
do
know
how
if
do the
he was-
faithful deal with this kind of disappointment?
Because he started the backpedaling before the whole thing ended. Because the whole thing, like, why, when we were talking to Brother Mike, he was saying, like, oh, you can't compare it to what Harold Camping said before because he put a question mark in that book. 1994? And then he started the backpedaling before it even started. Maybe because he knew he was wrong, and like there was still that one part in the back of his head saying, telling him to stop being a bullshit artist, or maybe he was just the fact that like, I'm probably not going to be dead by the time this comes to pass.
Okay, all right. So maybe he wasn't firm in his prediction in 94, but it seems like now this one they're solid on. I mean, when we talked with Brother Mike, he was all about it. He was very certain, which is why I believe that he's sincere. I don't think it's a media stunt.
No, it probably isn't. At least not for a majority of the people that believe
So
it.
didn't I read that the Mormon faith had a similar end of the world prediction, and it was an event where people were like, on the day that this was supposed to happen, people were on the roof of their homes waiting to be raptured up into the sky. And when it didn't happen, in their faith, they call it the day of the great disappointment or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Mormons have that. The Jehovah's Witnesses were founded on that, really. Because the Millerites made a prediction and then it
I forget
failed.
when the Mormon prediction was, but that was the instance where people had sold their homes and sold their businesses,
Yeah,
and
that happened with the Millerites, too. I believe the Seventh-day Adventists were started that way. I could be wrong on that one, but there have been over 200 predictions for the end of the world. The first one being in 44 AD, like 44. Like
yeah, but
literally
with
14
predictions
years
like
after the
that though,
crucifixion.
look at all these people that make predictions, and you only have to be right once, and then from then on, it's like, oh my God, they're psychic. They know exactly. They can tell the future.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Maybe we'll have 201. Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I
Yeah,
think we need
sure
to
there
think
will be.
about how well they're doing. Because if you type in May 21st, 2011, the Bible guarantees it. That's their slogan. The first two Google searches that come up are videos from YouTube. The third one is zombie popcorn.
Nice.
Underneath that is the family radio, which
That's
is there.
awesome that we get more.
We get more presidents.
Oh,
Haha, take that.
that's excellent.
Maybe family radio isn't as popular as we had thought.
What are you saying? Anyway,
So, it's, the end of the world predictions. I mean, this is, number 220 or something like that. There'll be 221. There'll be 240. There'll be 300. I mean, so long as, you give long enough timeline,
Yeah.
you'll get any number of predictions.
No, I agree. I agree. I'm no matter what questions I may ask, I'm firmly of the mindset that this is all crap and that
Woo woo.
yeah, this does not fit with the naturalistic worldview.
well, somebody asked on the zombie popcorn. It says, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they say, since God declared knowledge is evil, isn't camping sinning by trying to use knowledge to determine a date for the second coming?
That's an interesting point because I've seen a lot of other sites and comments where people point out there's some scripture verse that says you can't know when the end is.
Well, they got that covered on their website. Harry Camping has a whole document.
But they
talking
somehow reconcile that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Matthew 24:35 through 36. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of the day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone.
Oh, but wait, Brother Mike answered that question because he said that anytime that God put judgment onto the earth,
He let
the
people know
the
a certain
true
amount of time.
followers knew. I mean, Noah knew before the flood, and whatever other examples he gave. So
I think that's all just what I like to call theological jujitsu. And, it's like I'm pointing out one scripture that says this, and then another thing says that, and I can just pick and choose. And
It's a nice healthy cocktail of special pleading and cherry picking.
yeah, right, yeah. That's exactly right.
It's a nice little fallacy cocktail that you can brew up.
So so for anybody that didn't listen to when Brother Mike was on Zombie Popcorn, one of the things that he said was, with regards to their 94 prediction, that was wrong, was he said that they have new knowledge now, that they have new insight. And when I asked him what that new insight was, I was expecting that they had a new translation of an ancient text, or there was some new bit of information that they didn't have before. But it turns out what's new is a new divine inspiration.
It's a new interpretation of it that was supposedly divinely inspired.
So they don't have anything concrete.
No, there's nothing. There's no material evidence that's new to support their claim. It's just, hey, when we read this way, it says this. And there's some really fucking awful fundamental errors in his reading. I've read several of Camping's books now, because I'm not opposed to reading something that's ridiculous that I disagree with. We looked at that the website that offers the free Bibles for America.
Yeah.
I ordered everything they have. I should have it soon, hopefully.
yeah.
It should be here soon.
I was like, free books? Where do I sign up?
You're a hoarder.
I love books.
They're worse things.
Yeah,
You could be hoarding cats.
Yeah, right.
Inside books.
But there's nothing new here. It's just they're reading it a certain way, and I read some of his books, and it seems like Camping writes, and at first he starts putting footnotes in, and then he just stops referencing stuff. And
That's when it's inconvenient.
It's inconvenient even when he is referencing things. Just all you have to do is get a Bible out, start from the very beginning, and just go through and start following his references, and you find he has 10 years wrong here, 200 years wrong here, whatever. And is my mic off? No? Okay. It's 800 years wrong here. What he's doing is he's saying, his timeline stretches like back more than twice as long as a typical Bible chronology, which is BS in and of itself. But he says, this person was born, and the Bible says, so and so begat so and so when he was this old, and then he lived so long and he died. But instead of placing the birth of this person where he was born, he places it all the way at the death of his father. So it's like one person lives until he dies, and then the next person's born. And he lives until he dies, and then the next person's born. And he butts these like genealogies end to end to make a weird sort of like super straws, just one straw stuck onto another straw.
Right. And we've talked about how he's measuring the time, and it is a little flawed.
Yeah, it's really like it's pretzel logic. He wants to make a claim, and it seems like he has to do this because when you mentioned it before I got a chance to when we were talking to Brother Mike, like the math that he uses is just he just works it backwards to get the date that he wants.
Right, it's retrodicting. Is that what it is? I'm retrodicting something. No, it's more of a maybe a numerology thing, or I don't know what is that called? Where I can just pick any random number and make them work out to where I need it to. I don't know.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Intellectual dishonesty.
Yes. So that's another thing. Like in his math, it's like the numbers 5, 10, and 17
supposedly equal the words for atonement, completeness, and heaven.
But why those three?
Well, that's the thing. Like I've been trying to figure that out for a couple months now. Completeness appears once in the whole Bible, and it's in a piece of apocrypha.
Why wouldn't whatever number for heaven or
why not salvation, which appears a bunch of times? Why not?
Because it's a sign that it only showed up once.
And not even in like the Bible itself.
Just those seem like arbitrary selections to work out to what he needs it to be.
They're completely arbitrary. And here's the thing, like I worked out because I thought he was doing numerology. I thought he wasn't just pulling numbers out of his ass and saying they equate certain things. I thought, maybe he's actually doing like numerology. Numerology has a really long tradition in Greek and Hebrew, where you can take letters and make them equal numbers.
Right.
And I did it in Greek, and that's not what it means in Greek. I did it in Hebrew. That's not the numbers I got in Hebrew. I did it in English because I don't know. Some people really like English, and they think the King James Bible is divinely inspired, and therefore you can draw prophecy from that. And I did that, and nothing. Like I have no idea where he gets his numbers. So, it's a lot of like it. I think he picked numbers, and then multiplied them together, and then squared them.
Yeah, why is it squared too? I don't know where that.
Because that makes it extra holy.
Yeah, I don't know.
You think if anything, you would cube it, because of the Trinity.
Right.
Like.
That seems like a really good reason.
You can make an argument for doing anything here, but I mean, if it was cubed, it would be way too big. Like I did the Greek numerology, and it was like, it gave me a rapture date sometime in the year 7,000 something.
Yeah, isn't there also an issue of not just him doing the arithmetic, but in where he places the date based on the Hebrew calendar?
Yeah. I looked into this too because I was like, he says it would it appeared like the crucifixion happened on April 1st, the year 33, and he said that was a Friday. Well, it wasn't. It was a Wednesday, and he said he was using this website called Hebcal, HEBCAL.org, I think, or .com. And I went and looked, and it says right at the fucking top of the website, it says, it doesn't account for any date before, it's going to be off on any date before the Gregorian Reform. So before the advent of the Gregorian calendar in the 18th century, any date before that is going to be off by about 10 days. when you actually look, the year 33, April 1st wasn't Passover, and it wasn't. I mean, it was like several days before. You know, it was off by several days. Another problem is that 33 is just it's significant when you read the Gospel of John, but it makes no sense when you read the two Gospels that give, like, you know, any amount of, like, age of Jesus, you know, Matthew and Luke. Because the synoptics of Matthew and Luke, they give an approximate birth year for Jesus. Luke actually gives you a time when he started his ministry. You can actually figure out exactly when he started his ministry.
So, I guess you could like do a mental exercise where you could use the same thought, the same reasoning that the camping group uses, and come up with your own prediction of, you know, your own May 21st prediction. That would be different, right? So,
Well, yeah, I
all right.
did.
So anyway, who's to say that any of them's right? And I would say none of them, but that's a different story.
I actually wrote two papers on this, one before we talked to Brother Mike and one after. But if you look through and you read the Bible the way he's reading it as a sort of calendar, which is an awful way to read the Bible. Let's see. Matthew, using his math, Matthew would give you an end date of Luke gives you an end date of May 28th, 2008. And
well, then
It's already
Matthew,
happened.
It's already happened. We didn't even know it.
Matthew would have been June 3rd, 2005. If you go by their chronologies and just use his numbers.
But we have 7 years before judgment.
All right, so
for the
I
second
mean,
coming.
we could nitpick his math all day long. I think another, I don't know, unsavory aspect of all of this, which I find it particularly distasteful, is this belief that anybody who doesn't get raptured up, well, they didn't deserve it anyway. I mean, you know, we were talking about the idea of native peoples who you know never, who have no contact with the modern world. They don't even know what a King James Bible is. They don't even know who Harold Camping is. They're isolated. They're, you know, indigenous peoples that are what are they? They're protected peoples now too, right?
Yeah.
So they've never even, they have no contact with modern religious thought, and his attitude was, oh well, tough.
Yeah, there are, I mean,
they didn't deserve it
who
anyway.
knows how many people that not only are protected, like there are people in the Amazon, people in Africa, people's in, you know, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, that, I mean, they've made contact with the outside world, but you know, governments see to it that, you know, people can't go in and mess with them. But I mean, there are huge stretches of land that we are pretty sure are populated that we've never even been to. I mean, the Flores Islands is what, like 2,000 islands, most of which no one has ever been to, and some of the islands we know that we have been to are populated by indigenous peoples.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's
Well,
no
they need
argument.
to fly over with airplanes and drop Bibles down there. I mean,
Yeah, I know, right? But I just find that particularly, it's this attitude that
Reprehensible.
yeah, reprehensible is a good word. It's this idea that you don't deserve to live. Like, I don't just mean them. It's this attitude that whatever life you have, you didn't really deserve it anyway. And so, you know, it's okay if God takes it away from everybody in an instant.
Well, I mean, and then you want to talk about, like, that, and then, you know, the idea of heaven and hell. What about all the people that lived and died throughout all of human history before Jesus.
Yeah.
They
George
had-
Carlin does a good bit on that about how like, eating meat on a Friday used to be a mortal sin, but now it's not. And so there's a guy in hell now on a meat wrap. He's like,
Right? I mean,
it was just a pepperoni.
it's absurd to think that, like, and that's the hubris of religion we were talking about before, where you have to say, I'm right. That's the only way to get around it, is you say, oh, well, but my religion's right and everything else is wrong. My one tiny sect, even if you take the single largest sect of any religion in the world, Catholicism, has about 1 billion followers. That still means 5 out of 6 people
Right, yeah, don't see the
Don't-
world like you do.
Yeah. And that's the single largest sect, Roman Catholicism.
Yeah. So as I don't know, we asked the question earlier, but I want to throw it out there. I don't understand how come the in Harold Camping's group is a small minority, but has the Catholic Church come down on his prediction? Have they made like a? I mean, come on, man. There's got to be some Catholics out there that are like, man, I'm sweating this. Is this going to happen?
I don't know.
There's got to be a Catholic proclamation like, don't worry, it's okay. This guy's crazy.
I mean, no papal bulls that I've seen, but I'm sure there are Catholic groups out there that have said something about it. I bet you Jason could hop on Google really quick and find something.
Can I? Let's try it.
I'd be interesting with the stance of, like, some Catholic diocese maybe they're gonna have to assure their flock. I mean, come on.
Sure, and I mean the Catholic Church itself. I don't want to call them progressive. I don't want to call them not bullshit artists, but I mean the Catholics have since the 50s embraced the idea of a very, very old Earth, as opposed to Harold Camping's idea of a very young Earth. So, I mean,
Well, yeah, but he is a young Earth creationist, isn't he?
yeah, he believes the Earth is about 11,000 years old,
Oh yeah.
based on his calendar.
Based on the camping calendar. He's horrible.
Well, he has a book, and it's called what is it called? It's like a biblical calendar of history or something like that. I read through it. It was
Okay, well, and here's the other thing about Camping's group, and I think this falls into the what's the harm category, because I'm sure that there are people probably who of any, it doesn't matter what their worldview is, but I'm sure they're looking at this whole spectacle and maybe snickering to themselves and like, haha, those people are silly, but what's the harm if they're going to spend their money, and where's the greater harm in that? And I'm afraid this is going to turn into another Jonestown, another Heaven's Gate.
Exactly. I mean, what happens if people decide to take their lives over this? What happens if people decide to, euthanize their animals? And, what about, not just the people, but these people probably have kids. What about their kids?
Yeah.
You know?
No, and I mean, and that is a real fear. I mean, look, I'm poking fun at it, and I'm being flippant, and we're ridiculing it. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I mean, I really don't. And I'm afraid that it is going to be another Jonestown.
Yeah, I mean that's been sitting in the back of my mind ever since I saw this prediction. It's like, these sort of predictions usually come with people ending up, taking their lives.
I'm sorry, but in my search to see if there was anything about a Catholic stance on this, the forums on all Catholic forums blowing up, people talking about it, but no official stance. But there's a 50% off sale, the second coming 50%. And there's a commercial. So I have to. I mean, I'm going to take a moment to play that.
Did you know the Bible predicts the day of the Lord followed by the return of Jesus Christ to Jerusalem? As I read the daily news and look around the world, I believe we're really close to that day. Nonetheless, here and now, if you want jewelry, I have access to millions. Diamonds and gemstones, gold, silver, watches and clocks, and I'm selling everything at 50% off, giving you unbelievable savings. LTD Jewelers, Tower Avenue, Superior.
Isn't that awesome? Second coming sale 50% off.
Oh, that's excellent.
So I mean, I guess there are people reacting to it, but
do you
not
think
in
that
ways-
guy's serious, or is he?
I don't know.
It's a real commercial.
I mean, I realize it's a real ad,
But
but
it's
it's
tongue in cheek.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I
mean, it's a good way to
satire
get-
so good that I don't even know it's satire.
It gets business, I guess.
Poe's law, right there.
Unless he really believes it, and then I guess this is a. I don't know.
So, yeah, I'm wondering, like, are there people really now like quitting? I mean, because it's happening now. We're just talking a matter of days.
2 days.
So have people been selling their homes? Have people been quitting their jobs?
I'm sure. I mean, people. Every time one of these happens, people end up selling their houses and, quitting their jobs and selling their businesses and just packing up and going, and then waiting, and then Jesus doesn't
And
show
waiting,
up.
and waiting.
and waiting. I mean, you would think 2,000 years of any day now, people would give up, but it's
Hell no! Why would you
Well,
give up?
It's not. Yeah, I know it seems like 2,000 years of any day now, but you don't live. Nobody's lived that whole 2,000 years. So, this any day now is what, once every 100 years.
Yeah, like I said, it comes in waves. It started in 44. There were a whole bunch around for the first couple centuries. Around the year 1000, there was a whole ton of them. In 1666, there was a whole bunch.
Yeah, I got 2 words for Harold Camping. Y2K bug.
Yeah, I mean, in 2000, God. I mean, 2012 is right around the corner, so,
But no, this is not 2012. He did an interview recently with, I forget what paper, Harold Camping did, and he's hell-bent on, he hates 2012.
Yeah, because they're stealing his gig, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's why, it's why Coca-Cola hates Pepsi.
Yeah.
They're competing for the same market.
They just need to merge, man. It'd be such a big. Anyway.
I just and what I don't know, like, why do I not have some kind of did you say there's a website now that rapturepet.
Oh, yes.
Like, if you have a
This is
dog.
excellent. It is called eternal-earthbound-pets.com. And it is run by a bunch of non-believers who, for a small fee, I believe it is $135, plus an additional $20 per additional animal, you get a 10-year contract. And if the rapture occurs at any time during those 10 years, they will take care of your animals for you after you ascend to heaven.
See, I think that's brilliant, and I'm jealous I didn't think of it first. I hope they're making millions.
Oh, God. At least the money would be going somewhere good instead of...
I don't know. They may be horrible companion animal caretakers.
I love their tagline. The next best thing to pet salvation in a post-rapture world.
But all dogs go to heaven. Why do you need this?
What about cats? Fish?
Who cares about cats?
Gerbils.
Gerbils, hamsters,
There's no water in heaven.
rats.
God, that's hilarious. And their website is actually more well put together than the 21st website.
It really is.
Because you're not looking at it by its preferred viewing in Internet Explorer.
Oh, God. It's apparently they increased their rates.
Yeah, they did.
Because of the increased activity associated with May 21st, 2011.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
All
God, that's
new
brilliant.
contracts submitted as of 1/13/2011. So
Oh my gosh.
So I guess people are doing it.
I want to
Duh.
be a fly on the wall somewhere where these people are waiting around. I mean, they're like, man, I'm gonna wake up on May 22nd and just be the happiest guy ever.
Why are you going to bed? Don't you want to witness
I'm gonna
it?
fall asleep
I mean,
eventually.
no, we gotta stay up all night like Santa coming or something.
Yeah. Like, yeah. There's Santa Claus, right on.
maybe it will happen. Maybe I won't have to go to work on it.
I'm gonna.
No,
I'm gonna-
you'll have to go to work because what you both are forgetting is you'll still be here. Both of you will.
Yeah,
be.
but honestly,
because you're not going.
If Judgment Day is the 21st and there are hell beasts outside waiting to roast me alive, I'm staying in my
No,
house.
they're carrying you to work because that's your torment.
I just think on the 22nd, like, coffee is going to be more delicious, and the air is going to be just even more sweet, and the day is just the sun's going to be brighter, and everything is going to be
It's
so
gonna be like a Disney,
much better.
all little birds.
Right,
flying.
little bluebirds flying around my head. It's going to be
Skippity doo
great.
dah, skippity.
I know. I'm going to like skip to work and.
It's.
I don't know. I'm gonna be sad.
I will be sad if I find out like I don't know, 100,000 people committed suicide or something crazy like that. But
oh well, I was gonna say, well, the Christians would say if if that many people committed suicide for it, then that was the way God chose for. But they're not gonna be here to say that, so never mind.
It's. I want to know what the backpedaling is going to be.
There's not gonna be. I mean,
There has to be. There's always backpedaling.
the fact that there's going to be a 22nd means that there will be backpedaling, and it's just who's going to be doing it is the question.
us or them.
Well, us is going to be I told you so, and them is going to be well maybe we were wrong, and I just man the self-assuredness with which Brother Mike talked about these things just made me want the 22nd to get here that much faster.
I want it to happen because I want to laugh at all the credit card companies that take advantage of poor people by giving them credit and then jacking them up with interest rates. They don't have to pay it back. Okay, sorry, that's just. Anyway.
You know, I do hope we can get a hold of Brother Mike. But Saturday, for Zombie Popcorn, get him on there or Talking Dead, get him on there. I want to talk to him right before the rapture happens. I want to be talking to him right as the rapture's supposed to be happening, and then look at your watch and be like, oh hey, still here, huh?
Do you remember when who was the televangelist that made the statement, if he didn't raise X number of dollars, God was going to take him home? Was that Oral Roberts? I think it was Oral Roberts.
I think it was Oral Roberts, yeah.
Right, Oral Roberts made the statement, and he said, like I have to raise X number of dollars, and it was a large number, like maybe $1 million. And if I don't raise $1 million by this time, then God will strike me dead. And I was like, man. And I remember that as that day was approaching, I was like, rigging. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens. And the whole thing was ruined because he made his goal.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
Okay, we read stories growing up like Gandhi would fast. He's like, you stop doing this or I'm going to die. I'm going to starve myself to death. We have political activists who do that. But now on the other side we have a guy who said, I'm going to die if you don't give me all your money.
Yeah, how
It's
many?
brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
like we talked about last week.
No, but okay, it's different in that okay, someone who's on a hunger strike or is doing that kind of political positioning they are the agent of their own destruction.
Yeah.
Right? They're deciding to not eat. What Oral Roberts did was say, if you don't do this, God's going to do it. God's going to strike me down? Because he's like, I'm just the victim here. I didn't really, it's not me. It's God's going to do it, and I have no control over what God does. And God damn it, he made his goal. I couldn't believe it. I was so ready to see what would happen. And I was fairly sure I knew.
Do you think he really made his goal, or he just said that?
Yeah, he did. Somebody, it was almost a last minute thing where somebody gave him the balance of what he needed. And I think, and if I remember right, I think that the person that did it out of, I read that it was sort of out of an idea that he didn't want to see Oral Roberts like take his own life, or he didn't want to see him embarrassed. Like he was a believer but skeptical of Oral Roberts' claims, and so he was like, rather than see Oral Roberts diminished, and he supported the pious fraud, if that makes sense.
It's sad because it's like those people are the worst.
Yeah,
they're the worst.
Right. Fraud is fraud in any sense.
You're just an enabler at that point. You're saying, it's okay that he's, scamming people out of their money. But, I don't want to see him embarrassed.
They have to be the biggest.
Old ladies are eating cat food because of this man. God forbid he's embarrassed.
They have to be the biggest atheist ever. For him to do that, I mean, they can't believe in a God for them.
But it's in that same vein, man. I cannot wait for the 22nd. It's just life is going to be so much better.
I know. I'm like that whenever a doomsday prediction rolls around, because I remember Y2K. I loved it. I was up 12, it was like 12:05. I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. Nothing happened. TV's still working. Lights still on. World didn't explode.
Yeah, but
my computer didn't try to eat me.
I remember Y2K, and I remember it was kind of. I mean, I remember it was a dud, but I was hoping that, I would be somewhere and the clock would strike midnight and I could go, "Told you so," because I didn't believe anything was going to happen either. But then what happened is, like, as midnight was occurring in earlier time zones, the news was like, it's Y2K and maybe Hong Kong is earlier. And they're like, and nothing happened. And I was like, damn it, they beat me to it.
Yeah. Fucking time zones.
Yeah. So, so then by the time 12 o'clock got to the East Coast, it was like, oh, well, we knew that, right? We got let down. Somebody scooped us.
Yeah. Time zone, that's how I felt, too. Because I was like, oh, right. I don't live right on the international date line.
Yeah. That would have been the place to be.
Everybody flies out.
Exactly. Just wait.
Yep.
Wait for the time. It's, those sort of predictions, though, there's always the hysteria that comes with them. I remember there was a woman in the town I grew up in, and I was, date myself, I was 18, 2000 was the year I graduated high school. There was a woman who went to the Walmart near my house every week for, I don't know, like 6 months, and she bought a pallet of canned goods and a pallet of water.
Was she Mormon?
Every week for 6 months because she was afraid of Y2K.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you are stocked up for years at that point. Like a pallet of canned food.
Well, guns and Bibles were the biggest. I think it was Y2K. The biggest seller of was it Y2K? It was one of the crazy, everybody freak out, the world, something crazy going to happen in the world. But in Texas, I was living there at the time, and the biggest seller of items were guns and Bibles.
Guns and Bibles. That's great.
Awesome.
And that's what you get at those times. You get people who, they stock up, they build their bomb shelters, they get their guns, they get their Bibles. If I could carry one piece of literature with me into the post-apocalyptic world, probably wouldn't be the Bible.
You would have Playboy. I know how you.
You could just be like, Shakespeare and.
That's a good question. What would I carry? I don't know, like a math textbook or something.
Yeah,
Let's not lose calculus, textbook. Guys. That's important, right? Did you see that movie, The Book of Eli?
No.
It's all about him like preserving the Bible, right? And it's like the great lengths to which he goes to preserve. Basically, what he is, he's carrying the Bible in his head, pretty much. And but anyway, it's basically about like how one man struggled to preserve the Bible in a post-apocalyptic world. And I was thinking to myself, well, what a crap book to preserve, right? Why did somebody preserve a math textbook? Like, let's not lose
Or
calculus.
wild herbs that you can eat.
Yeah, I mean, the food you can bring with you. Don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoy the Bible as a piece of literature. It's an important historical piece of literature. But I mean, I don't give it any more credence than I give to Shakespeare or to Beowulf or to, any other ancient book, the Mahabharata. Ancient pieces of literature. Plato, Aristotle, but I think there are definitely better things. Yeah, a math textbook, a science textbook,
Yeah.
A survival manual tell you how to purify water.
I know,
like
right?
I
That would
don't
be
know,
handy.
like anything,
Well, what so Jason, what are you doing to prepare for the end of the world? I mean, do you have any pre-rapture preparations you need to make?
Saturday night at 7 p.m. is the broadcast of the Talking Dead. We'll be live in 3D. Watch the Rapture in 3D. Saturday night at 7 p.m.
What about you, Ken? Do you have any pre-rapture preparations?
I'll be at Jason's house.
See, it's a party.
Yeah,
I want to be broadcast in 3D one last time.
Yes. And then we're gonna bury the digital footage so future generations can find it and know what we were about.
I made sure I have off work that night.
Yeah, I have it off too.
I don't. I work and then I run home.
Do space aliens get raptured?
I don't know.
If there's life circling on a planet around, like, what's the closest star? Alpha Proxima or?
No, it's Alpha Centauri.
Alpha Centauri. Yeah. Okay.
Nerds.
It's 4.3 light years away. But what if? Obscure knowledge. What if there's life there? Did they get raptured? Do they know about Jesus?
It doesn't matter.
That's the thing. That's the point that Brother Mike was saying. It just doesn't matter. They didn't deserve it anyway, so it's okay to take it away.
Once you extend it beyond like the limits of planet Earth, you say, oh well, it's only 1% of the 6.5 billion people here. What about all the life that could possibly be in the rest of the universe? Is the whole universe going to get experience Judgment Day, or is it just Earth?
Look, you can't throw those big philosophical questions at the narrow worldview.
I've only got 2
Harold
days
Camping.
to throw those narrow philosophical
I'm throwing
questions
shit
out.
and questions.
Yeah.
Don't.
I'm
You
Socrates,
can't be
bitch.
bothered with those kinds of ideas. That's
Thinking.
yeah. Come on, you think that Harold Camping, a young Earth creationist, has given any thought to what would happen outside of the sphere of the planet Earth? I'm sure he's still probably like the Earth is the center and
A
the
flat
sun's
disc
yeah.
standing on pillars with a firmament above it.
I'm amazed that he would accept the
theorem?
heliocentric view of the universe. He probably still has that geocentric view.
Yeah.
That would not surprise me.
He is 91 or whatever.
89.
89. I don't know why I
89.
keep thinking he's not 91.
It's not. You're off by
I've
2
tried.
years. Like I said before, he's living on borrowed time anyway. He's lived well past the life expectancy.
Suppose he dies.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
Then he,
Whether-
he
Oh my
gets
God,
his
can you
dream.
imagine?
He gets his dream. But
Like-
he becomes a martyr for it.
I mean, suppose he dies, like intentionally or otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, suppose he, is like, hey man, I'm checking out, bottle of sleeping pills, drift away, and I was right. God, that's gonna suck. That would really put a monkey wrench in my plans because I want to call him up.
I know.
That's Brother Mike, though. You're talking about camping?
Either or.
Any of them. Who cares?
We don't have camping's number.
I'll
But we
find
can get it.
Family radio. I'm sure he has an extension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear what their voicemail
I'll be
plays.
I'll be amazed Saturday if Brother Mike picks up the phone. I'll really be surprised. I would really be surprised. Because I don't think he will. I think he's going to be.
I don't know.
He's either going to be hiding or dead, and I hope it's the first one.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Or
yeah,
hiding
I know.
dead people.
Isn't it convenient that I find it funny when these people they go by brother such and such. They never give out their last name. I could not find his last name anywhere.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I'm Bishop Bayless, if anybody wants to know. Legally.
Universal Life Church.
Yes.
I love it.
I didn't know if I wanted to go with Reverend or Bishop, and I thought Bishop was better. So
I like the alliterative nature of it, Bishop Bayless.
I
It's
know,
nice.
isn't that
It
nice?
rolls right
I
off the
know.
tongue.
So anyway.
anyway. So I mean that's it. I mean, why don't we finish up with the rest of that video that we started off with? We can you can watch it. You know, let us know. You have 2 days to give us any sort of comments.
You got two.
You know,
You got 2 days to
days.
get your questions to us.
2 days to bring the snark.
Maybe we'll address them on Saturday.
And maybe we'll mature a little bit before that.
You can always call the ZPN hotline at 757-337-2195 with any questions, comments, outbursts, outrages. We've had a few replies lately. We're looking over some stuff about a recent video we did. We're going to come back to that. You can email us at nonreligious@zombie-popcorn.com. Again, any feedback at all, leave comments on the YouTube page. You can...
And we don't spam your comments, you idiot.
Yeah, we don't mark anything as spam. However, I do believe that if YouTube sees something typed out that looks a certain way, it automatically signals it as spam.
What was signaled as spam?
It was a web address, but the way it was typed out, I think.
Well, we'll talk about it off the air.
Yeah. You can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/thisnonreligiouslife. And so, Jason, do you have any final
That's it.
comments?
Don't forget to tune in this Saturday at 7 p.m. For The Talking Dead. All three of us will be there.
Our live Rapture broadcast.
It will be our live Rapture broadcast. You can see the Rapture happen in 3D. Don't look at your window. Don't walk outside. Don't walk down the street. It's dangerous. You just sit in your home and watch the live broadcast in 3D. We'll protect you. We got you covered. Saturday night at 7 p.m. zombiepopcorn.com. That's it.
That's it.
Jesus got out here.
I thought I was a good Christian.
Jesus died on a cross. I go to church every Sunday. Jesus got out here. Then I read that Jesus died on a cross for a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian. The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes